American Craftsman podcast is sponsored by Hayfla. Hayfla offers a wide range of products and solutions for the woodworking and furniture making industries, from hinges and drawer slides to connectors and dowels, sandpaper, wood glue, shop carts, and everything in between. Exclusive product lines such as Lux LED lighting and Slido door hardware ensure that every project you create is built to last. Learn more at hayfla.com. Additional sponsorship provided by Ridge Carbide. When you need the right saw blade for the job, put your trust in Ridge Carbide tools. For over 50 years, Ridge Carbide has been producing industrial saw blades designed with the exact specifications for the cutting results you expect. Before you buy, call us and we'll help you determine the right tool that meets your needs and your budget. After the sale, Ridge Carbide provides sharpening services for all your saw blades, dado sets, router bits, and jointer planer knives. Located in Kansas, Ridge Carbide Tools provides high-quality products with outstanding customer service at a fair price. What are you cutting? Enjoy the show. Welcome back. I think I came in a little too early. The intro just feels painfully long now.
Yeah, well, Ridge Carbide is really getting a good plug, and I'm like, send us a few saw blades.
Yeah, I haven't heard from them since about January, so
maybe it's time to look for someone else.
Well, they got another 27 episodes prepaid.
Still 27 more?
Wow. Yeah, all of season 4.
There would be so much more to talk about them, even on the podcast, if they would just send us a blade. I mean, if they sent 2 blades, I'd put a new blade in my table saw. Mm-hmm. They'd get a plug on my channel. They'd get a plug on my Instagram. But it just seems like they're not tuned in.
Yeah. It seems to be the case with a lot of people across all industries.
Do they have an Instagram?
Yeah, I think it's relatively small.
I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
What do I have to lose? I mean, that's the thing with Instagram. I'll just DM people. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a shot in the dark. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, I sent something out to Tough Built, and first they were really thankful that we made that video and that I shared it. I guess it was an Instagram story, mm-hmm. maybe even a post. But then they really didn't get back to me. I was like, yeah, send me some horses. I could use them for one thing, and you're going to get a lot of exposure. But like them and Sashko. Mm-hmm. Sashko was going to send me some caulking, which I would use, which would be, I mean, think about how many eyeballs see that. On a bad day, it's like 2,000 people see an Instagram story.
Yeah, and it costs them, let's say they send you a case of caulk, 12 tubes, which are, let's say it retails for $6 a tube. You know, it costs them less than $100.
I know. It's funny. I'm going to give a shout out to the caster company. I forget the name of it now.
Yeah, I can't remember. Those are cool though.
Yeah, they are cool casters. So if you follow me or Jeff or Today's Craftsman on Instagram, you know that I'm doing a long-term borrow with Jeff's workbench. And
it's yours.
Okay. I feel bad about that because I'm like, one day you might want it back. It's so nice.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, trying to find those casters in our text thread. I just don't need 2 workbenches like that in the shop, you know?
No, I'm just saying like, you know, one day you might be like, have a little shop in your backyard and you want a workbench, whatever.
Yeah.
So right now we've made the trade for my Armor Tool workbench.
Which I like.
It's definitely a handy workbench.
Yeah, that is far more useful to me right now than 2 woodworking benches for sure.
Sure. I mean, we wheeled it out today for a table for mm-hmm. the video we just shot on hand tools. But getting back to the casters, they sent me 2 sets of casters, a sort of a smaller one and a more heavy duty one. And I'm going to put the more heavy duty one on the workbench. And the thing with these casters is you sort of pick up whatever, if it's a table or in this case it's a workbench, you pick it up, the wheels drop down, and now your table is on casters. And when you want it off casters, you pick it up again, and it's like a little ratchet mm-hmm. that moves, and then the in this case the workbench will drop down to the ground. So that's really useful for me since my shop is small, and I kind of move that. I'll move that workbench from behind the Powermatic, depending what I'm working on. But also, but getting back to kind of what you do sometimes for free product. In this case, I'm giving them a lot. They sent me 2 sets of casters. And I'm just doing that because it's an American company. It's, small, very small business. Kind of reminds me of my son, Walter, who has a machine shop. He's building a product and they just want to get their product out there. Now, all this being said, they don't have an Instagram. I was like, why wouldn't you have an Instagram? I said that to him because I would talk about it in stories. But anyway, they don't have an Instagram, so I didn't tag them. And I did talk about them in a story, I think on Saturday or Sunday. But the long and short of this is I'm only getting those casters. I think they're maybe $80 or less a pair. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even charging them for this video.
And it creates work for you,
It's a lot of work. Yeah. I kind of kick myself for accepting them or even responding to the email because now I even have a conference call with them on Wednesday. And I'm like, why do I have to spend any time having a call with somebody? Because you know how it is when you work for yourself. It's just like every hour is sort of accounted for.
Oh, yeah. I feel like every day it's like I lose like 3 or 4 hours every day between emails or salesperson pops in or whatever.
It's really, really difficult. I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I keep an ongoing list, like I call it today's list. And I wrote a note at the top of the list, always say no. I don't always stick to it, but that always is there because you do have a lot of people reach out and they want to send you product, but everything's an obligation. And then it's just, so anyway, I'm not talking bad about this company at all. That I'm really happy to have the casters. It's going to be handy, and it kind of is going to work out with my workflow. But it would be kind of a very jerky move on my part to accept the casters, and then just never say anything about it.
Right.
But that's easy to do because life is busy, and all of a sudden you have something that somebody sent you, and it's sticking around and you're like, oh man, I'm supposed to say something about that. And then you don't want to just say something about it to say something about it because then it's not authentic. So anyway, I forgot how I got on this whole tangent. Rich Carbide.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the whole idea of it creating work. Like, so since we did that Creality video on that Falcon 2 laser, we've had, I want to say 3 or 4 small laser companies like that reach out wanting to send a machine. It's like, we can't just do it for a free machine because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Exactly. Our audience is not, there's definitely people watching today's Craftsman who use lasers, who like the idea of having one. Maybe they don't have one yet, but we can't become some laser channel where we're showing all these, second rate laser brands. Like, we'll show it, we'll make a video, but at that point it's a job. It's not like, hey, we got this cool thing. We're not excited about it,
Yeah. And at that point, let's say that you say, okay, give us the machine and $4,000. Then we would just say right off the bat, hey, we're getting paid to make this video.
Right.
And I think that's kind of interesting for the listener and the viewer, like, oh, okay, this is part of the way they make their business work. And they're being very upfront with it. Hey, we're getting paid to talk about this. Now, it's not like we're saying, hey, this is the best laser we've ever used. Go out and buy one. I think right in the video, like, hey, this is a sponsored video and they're paying us.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people who are untruthful about how they're being compensated by brands.
I agree with that. I see that.
And like the law is very clear that you need to what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it says sponsored on a Instagram text or even on YouTube. It says
disclose. You need to disclose the relationship.
Well, it's a very kind of weird gray area because, again, like with this caster company, I'll probably put this video out on Saturday if all goes well, and I'm probably going to click that button that says includes paid promotion. Even though I'm not getting paid, but they did send me
free product,
$160 worth of casters.
Right.
So in my mind, I just want to be on the up and up. I don't know if when you click that button, if that kind of throttles down how much YouTube pushes your thing out there. I don't know.
It could, but you don't want the FCC coming after you.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. And like, so when I put a project video, they don't do very well, but my core audience tunes in, and you can tell from the comments. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just putting out instructions in the world for people to build. It's like home furnishings, right? It's not about being the cabinet shop. That's what this is about. That's what today's Craftsman is about. Mine is really for the woodworker who wants to build something for their home and doesn't really know what to build. And speaking from experience, I think the hardest part of getting started on any woodworking project is coming up with a design that's going to work. And I've seen a lot of woodworking projects, and I've done a few where you put a ton of work into them, and at the end, they don't look good.
I see a lot of that.
Well, it can come down to a fraction of an inch, whether something looks, kind of clunky or something looks elegant. And so if you look at my sort of portfolio of furniture designs and there's something there that you like, well, then you've taken the guesswork out, and you know that if you put in all this time, you're going to end up with something that you feel good about instead of something that you're like, oh man, I should have done this differently. So that's sort of the audience that I go for. And I don't care if I would love the videos to get 1 million views, but I'm past that point where I get upset if a video doesn't break 10,000 views. I just figure, okay, that's just another thing out in the ether to help people and help me sell plans. And really, that's the business of it.
And who knows, it could hit 6 months from now, a year from now. But I was going to say, like a lot of these people who put out plans, they just don't have the eye. Or, you're an artist, you're well learned in furniture design. You've clearly studied, different furniture designs and created them yourself. Like you have an eye for design.
Thanks.
A lot of these people putting out plans just don't have that skill. So it's like,
well, yeah, that's kind of what I see. So I got a new web guy, and I'm really excited to be working with him. Eventually, I'll tell you who he is because I forget his web address now. But maybe somebody we'll work with.
Yeah.
Very, very reasonable and gets it. We had a really good conversation. The last web guy I had was difficult. He was sometimes unresponsive for a couple of days. And
I hate that.
That was terrible. So this guy's right on it. And we were looking at some other sites because I was saying, well, I like what this person does. I like, and I was telling him, like, my strength is really a furniture line so people can build their end tables and maybe a couple different pieces of furniture for a particular room in their home. And at the same time, we were looking at other people out there who have plans on their site. And I had said to him, I said, well, a lot of their plans are sort of very rudimentary. They're kind of a step above a shop project.
Yeah.
And then like 15 minutes into our meeting, he's like, oh yeah, I totally know I can totally see what you're talking about. Because it's just another, I don't know, coffee table that just, whatever. It's doesn't look much different than something from Crate and Barrel or something like that. Well, I don't even know what Crate and Barrel is, but I've heard it before.
Yeah, I don't know what I guess they're kind of just riding whatever the fads are, but
yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on there. I don't know how we got into this tangent either.
We're talking about the casters and making a video. Oh, we were talking about the ad disclosures.
Oh yeah. So I will say the last project I did have a sponsor, and that's Geo Veneer. So they do pay me, and they also do supply the veneer. Now, the weird thing is I will end up giving them a lot of freebies after the project's done because you have all that content.
Yeah.
And at that point, I don't know if you have to say, paid promotion or whatever. I don't think you have to.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's like, it may be that you only have to disclose the first post that is, you disclose the relationship in the first post, and then that's your disclosure for any future.
Okay.
That may be the case, but
see,
I don't
that's
know.
The thing. There's so much gray area, and I don't think you really ever know. So it's better to just try to be up on the up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Better safe than sorry. That's like with taxes.
Oh my God.
I'm like, listen, buy the books. Like,
yeah. Not worth it.
So we just shot a video on hand tools. So
hand tools are great.
Yeah, I moved all the hand tools from my bench before you picked it up and slapped them up on the wall, which it was something I had meant to do since we moved in here anyway. But, I don't know. I have this hang up with like permanence here where I'm not ready to do permanent things all the time because it's like, what if I want to change something, move something, like the dust collection on the cabinet saws. I don't know how long that's going to stay like that. Just a hose going across the floor because it's like, I could duct it in, but it's going to take time and money. And then if I want to move it, it's set. I can't change it.
Well, eventually, when you get the CNC in here, you'll probably have a better idea of how you want the shop to be more permanent. Yeah,
and then that'll be like at that juncture, I'll repipe everything, do it right, pay somebody to do it. But we're looking at all my hand tools, and I have this spoke shave that I won in a giveaway, and something that we wanted to do on the podcast was actually, here's that business card I was telling you about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Something we want to do on the podcast is sort of like talk about other people in the community, be it, woodworkers, any sort of maker, content creator.
Or artist. Because I think it'd be fun to have a conversation about an artist with you, somebody that you may not know. The idea is to broaden both of our horizons, right? So this woodworker that you're bringing up here, I don't even know of.
Yeah, so this is Albert Klein. His Instagram is Albert, ALBERT the letter A, Klein, KLEINE. And I'll try and remember to put a
super
link.
Talented.
Yeah.
You can tell right off the bat.
So he does a lot of marquetry. He's actually just wrapping up a book on box building. So
that's what all these posts are.
Yeah. So basically the idea of this, I don't know if I can, let's play an audio. The idea of this like segment of the podcast is, you would come up with an artist and I would come up with and I guess we'll go sort of back and forth.
Sure.
To just highlight somebody and check out their stuff. So we have this up on the screen right now.
And also the nice thing today is you can learn so much at a click of a button that you just might not even know. Like I didn't know about this artist, this woodworker, Albert Klein. And now I know to sort of take a deeper dive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things you may or may not want to take a deeper dive. You can kind of get an idea right in the beginning.
Right.
But I know from an artist, like an artist and an art historian point of view, I know that when I learn about an artist and I kind of take a deeper dive and start to understand their process, it sticks with me.
Yeah.
And it makes me appreciate other paintings and other art more. It's no different than understanding what trees you have in the forest that you're at, right? If you understand what a poplar tree looks like, you might enjoy your walk in the woods a little bit more.
Yeah.
You might be like, holy cow, look at the size of that poplar tree and look how tall the trunk is, because you probably know that poplars shed their branches as they don't get light. And that's why you end up with these huge boards that are straight as an arrow for the most part.
Or just learning the difference between a red oak leaf and a white oak leaf. And then when you say, oh, this is a white oak.
And the trunk.
Oak. Yeah.
And the bark, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For me, like music is big in that. Like, so, there's certain bands that you like. But then if I go and I read something about the band, like you find out these little tidbits of information, it makes me appreciate them even more,
Yeah. Well, and that's like anything, film appreciation. I went back and watched a Quentin Tarantino movie recently because I heard an interview with him on Joe Rogan, and it was I cannot remember an actor's name for the life of me, but basically it was the premise of the movie is this guy would have these cars, and he'd set it up like a race car, like a total roll bars and all this stuff, but the passenger seat would have nothing in it, or barely any kind of a chair, like no seatbelt, and he would just destroy people by driving like a maniac.
And this was made into a movie?
This was a Quentin Tarantino movie. So, damn it. Really, the movie was better because I listened to the interview, and then I kind of
Death Proof?
Death Proof, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say that because I remember that was like a double, that movie was like a double feature, Death Proof and something else. The other one was another famous guy, Eddie, Grindhouse. Yeah, double feature. Robert Rodriguez, Planet Terror.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really? Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, did you see Death Proof?
I think I did, but I don't really remember. That didn't ring a bell. That idea of like somebody sitting in the passenger seat and getting killed.
Yeah, it basically shakes him up.
Yeah.
You know, but it was, I enjoyed the movie more because I listened to the interview on Quentin Tarantino and I kind of got a better understanding of what he was doing. And I think it was probably right after I saw his most recent movie, which is A Hollywood Story.
With Brad Pitt and
that's a good movie.
I haven't seen it. That looks good though.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I actually bought Walter and Michael to that. That's got to be 3 or 4 years old now. We saw that in the theater, and it's just the ending is awesome. It's a good movie. I like the whole movie. But anyway, so the idea of talking about an artist or a craftsperson or a woodworker here is just to sort of bring somebody out into the light a little bit. And then you can decide whether or not you want to take a deeper dive on it. I know that a lot of painters will inspire some of the furniture that I make. So it's sort of, you never know what's going to inspire you.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a very hard thing to find when you're trying to design and build a piece of furniture. It's like, where's your inspirations coming from? And your inspiration can be pretty close to what you're actually looking at. You're just changing it a little bit. And that's kind of how it's been through history. And even with music, if you're like Led Zeppelin, how closely that's linked to a lot of the rock music, American rock music that only came a generation before them.
Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Yeah, and like that inspiration can't be forced. You ever like try and like look at a piece of furniture and say, I want to be inspired by this and try and design something? Usually doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Or it's more forced.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've done that. Like I was trying to design something. I'm like looking through these books like, oh, I need to, get some inspiration. It's like, nope.
I think the funny thing with furniture is a lot of times it's the simplest stuff. It is, at least for the way my aesthetics, the simplest stuff is often the best solution. So, I mean,
Occam's like razor.
Yeah, that's right. I like modern furniture, which tends to have cleaner, more simplistic looking lines, but at the same time isn't always that easy to make. But some of the most complicated pieces of furniture that took hours and hours and hours, I just don't like. It's just an aesthetic viewpoint.
Yeah, you can get lost in the details of it too,
Yeah, and it's almost like a Victorian house, right? There's so much work in a Victorian house, and I look at it, I'm like, well,
it's like less than some of its parts.
Yeah, and at the same time, like especially with a Victorian house, I guess this is the older person coming out. Is like I look at things now as what kind of maintenance is that going to entail?
Yeah, going to scrape and paint all that, decorative wood siding every 5 years.
Oh my God. I've been doing a lot of painting this summer, so I know and I have a brick house.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that much painting, but.
I'm just scrolling through Albert's Instagram here.
So he's really into marquetry.
Yeah.
That's beautiful with those leaves.
Yeah. Have you ever tried it?
I haven't.
Me neither.
It seems like you could probably have a simpler workaround with a laser, right?
Yeah, a CNC.
Yeah, CNC.
I like using a fret saw. I think I would be into marquetry, but.
Well, we were talking about that with your mallet, right? That Jeff's got this really nice, is it a Lee Nielsen?
Veritas.
Veritas brass mallet. And so there's woodworking where
there's the box that.
Oh, that is pretty. Yeah. There's woodworking where you have to make a product, finish it, deliver, and get paid. And then there's woodworking where you kind of get you get the joy and satisfaction of using a hand plane and a draw knife or a good sharp chisel or dovetail saw. Oh, look at that! Go up to that little step stool.
That's nice.
I like that. So I did a cheat on my step stool where it's just screwed together and then it's got those square pegs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people build that. Again, I think I might do one of those. So now that I've got a workbench in the shop, that's a nice. What I like about that is somebody's going to have that step stool for decades.
Yeah.
Number one, it has a function. Number two, it's just going to get more beautiful with age.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, it's just a classic. You know, it's that could look good in a traditional home or a contemporary home because it's your design, but it's also your material. It's just a combination of two honest things: an honest design with a smart approach and great material.
And it's functional, and then also that just like sitting up against the wall, it's like a piece of art.
I totally agree. I love shaker furniture. See, that's really nice because we're looking at a drawer front right now, which is looks like mahogany to me with ash on the sides of the drawer. So it's hand cut dovetails, but then there's a hand cut or hand turned, very elegant looking knob, which I'm assuming some kind of hardwood.
Yeah, sitting in that scoop, that little recess.
Yeah, sitting in this really nice recess in the drawer. So that's what I love about like good furniture is like when you touch it, like the way your fingers are going to wrap around that knob. It's like almost sensual. It's like a beautiful thing about it.
And it's not going to be cold like a piece of metal,
I just like the feel of things. Like that's like how do your hands feel when they interact with? That's the thing with furniture. There's an interaction, between the human and this form, and you definitely get that with his work here. Wow,
this is pretty cool.
That looks like
sapele with burl in the top.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Sapele, curly maple, cattle locks.
So this is one of those projects where you would go out and you would use that dovetail saw and that brass mallet.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, in order to use those tools, you kind of have to be in a place where you're not thinking about money.
Right.
You're not thinking about, okay, at the end of this job, am I going to get paid? Is it going to turn out to $3.50 an hour?
Yeah. Well, so the kitchen client, I was talking to her on Wednesday when we did the initial install, and she's like, "Oh, so like, how'd you get into this? It's like a family business, blah blah blah." And we're talking. She's like, "Yeah, I forget, uncle or something is a woodworker. He makes the most beautiful stuff, blah blah blah." And he's a hobbyist. I said, "Yeah." I said, "Hobbyists make the most beautiful stuff because they don't have to make any money doing it."
Yeah. 100%.
Given unlimited time, you could make. This isn't a knock against hobbyists, but there's things in the shop here are very restrictive. Need to build what the client wants for the price that they want to pay. So that's the driving factor. Given an unlimited budget and unlimited amount of time, we could design and build some amazing stuff, but the reality is that those jobs go to very few people. This is cool.
That's actually even a nice still life. Like, see, before he entered the frame, that looked like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's like a very 90s idea, like the fake window.
Yeah. Now, did you like that though? Like, is that something that you would put in your home?
No, definitely not. But I can appreciate
I can appreciate it too. Like, I like, but when it comes to art, I generally, I have a pretty eclectic taste. That's a beautiful table.
Yeah.
When it comes to art, I have a theory, right? Like, a large painting occupies space, right? So it's occupying a large space on the wall and it's working with the architecture of the home.
Mm-hmm.
A small painting creates space, right? So that might go in an area where like a bathroom or a small foyer. And that's where you sort of discover the painting and it makes the space a little bit bigger and doesn't really depend as much on the architecture of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So a small painting can kind of go anywhere, where a large painting, I know that's kind of it's not something that anybody ever wants to admit to, that the art needs to match the furniture. And I don't agree with that at all. I don't think the art should match the furniture. But I do think that there's sometimes, no matter how good the painting is, if it doesn't look right in the home, it's just not right.
Right.
It just doesn't work, So maybe
something that looks good in a gallery might not look good in your house, might not look good in my house,
Absolutely. So that's why when we had the art business, I would eventually, it started with us going to clients' homes with, 3 or 4 different paintings that the client had picked out in the gallery. And then it evolved into dropping those paintings, or maybe even a larger assortment of those paintings, into the client's home after I made an initial appointment to photograph their home. So you would, measure, you would take a picture of say it was going over the mantle, you would measure the mantle. The mantle was 70 inches wide and your painting was 50 inches wide. You then had a good idea of how to scale that painting to the room.
Right.
And that ultimately changed our business because you didn't really need a commercial space anymore.
Right.
It's just, and with Red Bank, the rents just going up, the parking getting more difficult. So that was one of the big reasons why we ended up just shutting down the commercial space, not the commercial, but the brick and mortar space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know now. It might be might be 8 years ago.
Wow.
I don't miss it at all. I don't miss paying rent for something I don't own. I did it for, I think, I don't know, I'm close to 20 years, 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, it hurts every month when I get that invoice.
Yeah. Paying rent sucks.
Yeah.
And once you have a commercial space, it's sort of like, anybody can walk in. And I used to have people, in my business, you would have a very small handful of clients.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be great. And you're willing to sort of do whatever it takes to work for them. But then you'd also have people who I felt like they knew they were wasting my time.
Tire kickers.
Yeah. And I felt like I'd have people ask me could I grab this painting from somewhere? Or somebody who was never going to actually purchase something. And they'd be they'd want the most time out of you. It's crazy. So I don't miss that.
Yeah. I get stuff like that here.
Well, don't you have a thing on your website now where it's kind of like you kind of have to be somewhat serious to even have a conversation?
Yeah, well, so I have a new client questionnaire that you have to fill out. I don't always send everyone there. I got a call from a guy this morning, and I had just ordered that stuff from Lowe's. So I thought maybe it was like a driver or something. So I picked up. Usually I don't pick up. And he's like, hey, is this Jeff? So I immediately knew that he was a referral from somebody. Yeah. Oh, I'm in Colts Neck. I have, want to do this closet, blah, blah, blah. I didn't send this guy to the client questionnaire. He's already semi-vetted. I'm not going to invest a bunch of time, but I also don't want to turn him off by making him go fill out this thing.
It's often a feel thing.
Yeah.
You just got to get the feel for it. And not everybody's the same.
Yeah. But yeah, you just call and leave a voicemail. Hey, I'm looking for some work to get done. Can you call me back? No. It says on my voicemail, if you're a new client, go to the website, go to the contact page. And if you don't do that, I'm not calling you back.
You can't. You can't do it because there's just not enough hours in the day.
If you can't follow that most basic instruction, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
I requested that you go to the website and fill out the form. If you want to work with me, then.
So what's going on? You're almost finished with this project. Last time we talked, you were dealing with the door situation.
Yeah.
Are they still on target to get here on the 7th?
As far as I know, my last email went unanswered when I was asking if they could get them here by the 6th, which is tomorrow. So as far as I know, they should still be here on Wednesday the 7th. So Cameron and I went up there so Tuesday. So we had the podcast we recorded on Monday. Tuesday, I rented a U-Haul, 16-foot box truck. We filled it to the brim on Tuesday in that heat and drove up there and delivered everything, which wasn't too bad. The U-Haul sucks. It was such a heap. 215,000, or no, it didn't have that many, 140,000 miles or something, but just.
Did it have air conditioning?
Yeah, but, it was such a dog. And when I got on it, we're on like 287, 208. It's all hills up there.
You can't drive that on the parkway.
No. So we had to take Turnpike to 287 to 208 to 17 or something like that. And it's all mountains up there. Sure. North Jersey's all mountains, if you don't know. And every time we're going up a hill, the motor's like really struggling and the air conditioning just stops.
Unreal.
And, the seats were all blown out. Like my back was killing me. My neck is killing me. But, so we got that done. We got back here, I think at a pretty reasonable time. Then Wednesday we shoot up there. We have to leave here at 6:30 to get there at 8. So leave the shop at 6:30, get up there.
I'm surprised you're not getting more traffic because that's like peak hours.
Yeah, I think a little bit later is worse.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like an hour and 15 minutes in the morning, actually.
That's not bad
like an
at
hour
all.
And 20 minutes, 2 hours to get back.
2 hours to get back?
Yeah.
You would think it'd be reverse flow, but wait, what time are you getting on the road to come back?
We left there at 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's not good.
So you have all the city traffic.
If you were able to leave at like 2.
Right. But we had to get ready for templating. So we had to set all the cabinets, island, everything to be ready for templating. So that's what we did. It went pretty smooth. Got everything set. Luckily the floor was pretty good. The walls were pretty good. So we got everything set aside from the fridge cabinet, which we didn't have to get done for templating. So we finished Wednesday for templating. Thursday, we were in the shop. Cameron was actually out sick, so I was here by myself. I built the fridge panel because that's something I'm waiting for from Richelieu. So they need to start installing the appliances. They need to install the fridge so that I can do the fridge panel. So I'm like, let me just make this one panel. So I fabricated that. I had to make a filler. What else?
Yeah, I saw that you scribed that to the wall.
Yeah, that I had a filler next to the like on the sink run because basically I wanted to set the cabinets equal and then just make the filler to fit rather than cut it on site. I figured we're coming back anyway, so I made that filler, and then Keith and I went up there on Friday. Same thing, left here like 6:30, and we left there. I want to say around like 12:30 or 1.
That's an early day for Keith because he's about an hour from you, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, hey, we could leave a little bit later if
That's cool.
Yeah.
Keith's awesome. I think the move to this place, I don't know how you would have done it without Keith.
Oh yeah.
That truck was unbelievable.
Yep. We would have had to rent like some kind of a Bobcat or something to.
Does he still have that truck? I mean, does he use it that often?
I think just when he has to like move something big,
Because that's just like a big work truck. I don't know what you use it for.
Yeah.
It's a pickup truck with a lift gate on it.
Yep.
That's cool.
Forget what. I think he got rid of something. Was it one of his Jeeps? I don't remember. Because he drives a GTI as like his daily driver.
Is he going to pick up this Boss?
Yeah, I don't know when.
But he can use that.
Yeah.
Because I thought he moved it here with that truck.
Actually, Rob and I moved it here in the van.
Oh, okay.
That was we moved that.
Oh, because it's on casters, you're able to get it up into the van?
Yeah, with that loading ramp that we have.
Yeah, a treated wood loading ramp.
Yeah. Which
brings me to not so much my next project, but something I have to do. We have an outdoor shower, and right now we've got a 36-inch bluestone in the back, and the shower just goes onto the stone, and the water eventually just evaporates, sinks into between the cracks, whatever. But it doesn't drain great. And I'm going to put a dry well. So I'm going to remove 2 of the stones that are closest to the shower, which will give me a 36 by 6 foot platform and I'm going to dig down probably 18 inches. I'm going to put down landscape fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fill it with stone. I already bought some. I was going to just buy the 3/4 inch bluestone gravel, but I was at Lowe's and they didn't have that, and I ended up buying the white. But you're never going to see it anyway.
Right.
Cheaper if you were just to buy the stone by the ton, but I didn't want to deal with buying a ton of stone.
Yeah, then they have a minimum delivery.
And it gets dumped, and then you have to shovel it, and these are just in convenient bags. Sometimes you pay a little bit more for convenience. So the idea is to fill this 6 by 3 foot area with about 18 inches of stone, about 3.5 inches, the size of a 2x4, to flush with the bluestone, and then I'm going to deck over it.
Mm-hmm.
The easy answer is to deck over it with E-Peg.
This is inside of the shower, or is it right outside of the shower?
But so the shower is not enclosed.
Oh, okay,
it's just the kids would come home after surfing.
Wash the sand off.
After I cut the lawn, or mostly it's boys. My daughter really doesn't use it. Mostly, the boys will just take a shower with their boxers on.
Right.
If I cut the lawn, like I cut the lawn yesterday, and it was a hot, sweaty day, and I just rinse off in that. So the decking, I'm thinking about using E-Pay, but man, E-Pay is just through the roof expensive.
Yeah, what are they getting? Like $8 a foot, $9 a foot,
something like that. I didn't even look, because the last time I bought it was a while ago, and it was really high. So it's just going to be higher.
Why don't you use teak?
Are you lying? So I'm wondering what would be. I mean, I could always. I don't want to use treated. I don't want to use treated decking. I think I may end up just paying for the E-Pay. Probably.
Yeah. They sell like these tiles, like these deck tiles that are probably made out of teak that you can probably get for inexpensive.
Where do you get those?
Internet.
Okay.
And they like clip together.
Yeah. Okay.
And they go onto like a some sort of a base, like a track kind of thing, and they snap in like a foot by a foot.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll look into that. So I'd have to frame it a little bit differently probably for that.
Deck tiles. Yeah. Like something like this.
Oh, look at that.
Obviously, Wayfair is not a good source, but.
All right. And then you could just picture frame it.
Yeah. And then if one gets messed up, you just pop it up.
You know what I'll do?
24 by 24. E-Pay.
Wow.
$50. That's not terrible.
No, but yeah, 24 by 24 is not really going to work for me because I got a 3x6. The easy solution. I'll do the math, but I was wondering. I almost thought about cherry just because cherry's so inexpensive.
Yeah,
and it's good outside.
Yeah,
but cherry's good outside, but I don't know if it's good for like the bottom of the shower.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, actually, Rob has a Adirondack chair made out of cherry that it's got to be over probably 15, 20 years old. Outside, no finish.
Well, the guys over at, what's your lumber yard?
O'Shea?
No.
Oh. Lewis Lumber?
Yeah, Lewis. They were, who's your contact there? Is it Brian?
It was Mike, and now it's Joe, I think.
I think I talked with Mike, and Mike was saying that cherry's a good wood for exterior use. Huh. But you brought up Adirondack chair. You want to talk about this pro bono project you're going to work on?
Yeah. So I ordered the material today. It should be coming at some point from Lowe's. Keensburg approached me. They did a little bit of a bait and switch on me. Not a bait and switch, but they, when you like give somebody something and then ask for something.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, the mayor was asking on your rendering that you gave us when you went in front of the town council, you showed some planters outside. The mayor was just wondering if you're still going to do that. We have a couple of planters that, you might see them around town. We could just drop off. I'm like, yeah, it sounds great. They're like, yeah, by the way, those big beach chairs that you see, in all these beach towns, like a giant Adirondack chair. I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, the town wants to make one. We'd wonder if you would, if we paid for the material, if you would build it.
I hate stuff like that because I was like, okay, we'll just ask the mayor to pay for it.
Yeah.
Why should you have to pay for this? Why should you have to give your time to this? I know you're going to do it because you already said. So now, once you say you're going to do it, so that's why I wrote on my notes, always say no. And it's not to be a jerk. It's just that people will ask you to do stuff, and all of a sudden you're like, all of a sudden I'm doing something that I didn't have the time to do in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid for it. And you're not going to get any, in my view, you're not going to get any business from it. Somebody's going to not see that chair and be like, oh, I need to have a kitchen made.
Yeah. Man, I want one of these chairs too. My whole thing was, I was like, listen, I'll do it. I'm not doing any finishing because I figured building chairs, that's pretty easy.
All right.
It's made out of fur framing material. And the main driver was I thought it would make a cool video.
Yeah, so
YouTube,
we'll do that. So you'll get to see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because Jeff sent me a text and I think I was like, no. I said, you don't want to do that. I don't know what I said, but I was like, are they paying you? I think I might have said, are you getting paid? Now you say fur. It's not going to be treated?
No, it's just, and they're gonna be responsible for some kind of finish.
I like it better that it's not treated.
I'm not messing around with treated wood.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. So Douglas fir is good. The funny thing is, if you were making it out of pine, I don't know if I could shoot it. I can't be near pine.
Yeah, actually, these are the plans. So I just went and found somebody's plans online. 2x12, 2x10, 2x12s, 2x12, 2x12, 10s, 8s, and 6s.
I think we could do a video just on the material. Let's see when you order material from Lowe's, what comes. Right?
Yeah, I'm hoping they're not messed up.
That's what I mean. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, he's getting 2x12s. What kind of bananas are these things going to look like?
Right. And I would rather go pick them out myself. But again, I'm not taking that time.
No. Is there a delivery fee from Lowe's?
It was free.
Because it's so much?
I guess, yeah. So let's see. Just got the order has been prepared. Yeah, so I got 3 2x10s, 4 2x8s. I got 4 things of PL, a box of 2 7/8 like timber locks.
Sure.
2x12, 6 of those.
You have your total?
2 2x6s.
Almost $400.
$360. And I got a 5-pound box of 3-inch screws.
All right. Yeah, I think you got 2 videos here. What comes when you order your lumber? Because I'm not trying to pick on Lowe's or Home Depot, but I've never been impressed with either of them. Mm-mm. My feeling is if you want to have an exercise in frustration, just go to either of those places.
Yeah.
Where if I go to Monteith, I know that they're expensive, but I see Eddie there and shoot the breeze with Eddie. It's a great experience. I'm paying more money. They do give me a little bit of a break. They should almost give me a lot of a break because a lot of people send me notes of how they've learned about Monteith from my channel. I even shot a video there with Buzzy when he worked there. But great experience at Monteith. If I'm going to buy any kind of hardware or just about any kind of thing when I'm working on the house, I go to Jaspin Hardware. And, right away you're going to see Jack or Brian or Chuck, and they're all just super nice guys. And it's almost like it's a great experience. But you go to Lowe's and it's just like, oh my God, I have to go here because there's no lumber yards anymore. You could go.
You go to Builders General.
You go to Builders General. You go to Monmouth. Monmouth, I don't know. I don't know if I like going to Monmouth.
I don't like Monmouth Building Center. I only go there if I can't get what I need at Builders General.
See, I find everybody at Builders General great. I've had like 1 or 2 guys at Builders at Monmouth just not be pleasant.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are a little bit further of a drive. I'm not going to come here anymore.
Yeah. And so I used to be at Builders General multiple times a week when I was a carpenter. I'm always picking up material.
And you're right there though, because that's like right next to Rumson, Fairhaven.
Yeah.
And that's where all your jobs were probably close to that.
Yep. And knew all the sales desk guys by name. I go in there now. I recognize 1 or 2 people. That's it.
Oh, there's turnover.
Yeah.
But you go in the yard there and everybody's pretty nice.
Yeah. The guys in the yard are great. Yeah, I like builders. But even there, you got to go out there into the outdoor yard and pick through. And
you and I take it for granted. There's a little bit of a confidence that you have to go into a lumber yard where you don't need that in a home store.
Yeah. You know, you go to Builders or Monmouth, there's like a little bit of like a machismo, like, this guy has no clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, you might feel a little judged if you're just some homeowner guy in a SUV or a car.
Sure.
You got to drive back into the lumber yard, pick your stuff out, drive up to the gate. They got to check what you have. It could be intimidating.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. I mean, I've been going to lumber yards since I was a kid, there is a little bit of that. That's why I always say Monteith is great, because you can go pick through an entire pot. You could spend an hour there. I mean, you do have to have a little lumberyard etiquette. If you're going to pick through it, well, put it back.
Yeah. They don't sell dimensional lumber at Monteith, do they? 2x4s and stuff?
No, they do sell some plywood, which I never buy there. But
it's expensive.
Yeah, they are expensive. Monteith is very, very expensive. And especially after buying the material that I bought for the sauna that is sometime going to get built. It will get built. After buying that at Lewis and just the how easy it was, with a straight line rip.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't bring myself to spend, I don't know how much it is. It might be $4 a linear foot for a 1x6 of poplar.
And the quality from Lewis is amazing. Great. Yeah. You can get more material for this. You could, even if you just spend the same amount of money, you could get double the material and then have it for something else.
And you just spend a little extra money on milling. So I had the boards planed down to 3/4. So that means they're clean on two faces. And I also had a straight line rip. So they're mostly 10 footers. I think I got mostly 8 or 10 footers, or somewhere between 8 and 10 feet. Or maybe 9 and 10 feet, because the dimensions work out for the sauna dimensions. Right. I forget it. We worked it out though. But with that straight line rip, it's just so easy. I went through the lumber and basically got it to its closest dimension, because I think I've got 5.5, 6.5, and 7.5. And I just kind of piled those boards up, and then I just ripped them all down. And it's kind of nice, actually, not having to think.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of behind the table saw for, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you end up with this great material. I mean, and I think it was like $200 or something. It was very little.
Yeah, because I ordered oak. I think it was. I have $1,000 minimum, so it must have been $500.
Something. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. It wasn't a lot though.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you didn't hear any of these conversations, I'm using poplar for the interior of the sauna because poplar is one of the 10 woods suggested. I think everybody knows cedar, but cedar is just through the roof expensive. Yeah. And also, if you go into a cedar sauna, you'll notice that it's mostly clear. And the main reason for that is the knots are so dense. They're talking about the heat. So you could lean up. Now you could lean up against the knot, and I guess it burns.
Cedar is so soft. That's what would turn me off. It's like, you just like hit it with anything, it's going to dent.
Yeah, but I guess the idea there is a hardwood you might burn yourself on.
Yeah.
So I thought about using cherry, but the fact that cherry was a little bit harder. And also somebody said that cherry bark contains like a natural cyanide in it. And I was like, okay, I don't know anything about that, but I don't feel like finding out about this later. I did try to find some things about it online. Didn't really see much, but I was like, okay. And then a friend I follow on Instagram, the Lawn Whisperer, he DM'd me saying that the sauna at his public gym is poplar and it's great. So my only reason for not using poplar is it's such a light colored wood, it would get dirty.
Mm-hmm.
But it naturally yellows.
Yeah.
And I'm not so worried about the walls getting dirty, and I'm going to design it so the bench can be taken out and cleaned with bleach or power washed or something like that. Because that's the only thing that I think would get dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it's in a public place. It's basically me and some of my kids.
Right.
Maybe my wife will use it if it ever gets done.
Well, you're too far along to back out now.
Yeah, I've got the framing material and the shiplap material, so I am too far along.
That doesn't mean anything. I bought the material for my kitchen, I think, in 2020.
And you're not using it.
No.
That's the even funnier part.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So you've got a lot of extra. Is that all pre-finished plywood that you bought, or is there no finish on it at all?
There's pre-fin one side, pre-fin two side, and half-inch pre-fin one side.
That's the old stuff.
That's the Garnica, yeah.
Okay. And why'd you decide not to use it?
I didn't have enough to send up to the CNC guy.
Okay.
I would have went and dropped it off, but like the quantities didn't, because I already used some of it because I have cabinets that I made.
Sure.
So there just wasn't enough, and I couldn't. Fez didn't have it anymore.
So you'll end up just using that up over the years. I mean, 3/4 inch birch plywood, you'll use it on something.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, like next job I get in the shop that needs pre-fin, I'll just use that.
Is your kitchen cut?
Yeah,
and it's here.
Yeah, it's just not edge banded.
And when are you starting that?
When I get back from IWF.
And your floors in your house are done?
No.
So you got to have your floors done before your kitchen goes in.
I got to do that. I got to paint. I did one coat of primer, but then the spackle guy had to come back because I found a bunch of issues, so they had to fix that. So I need to prime. Probably want to get a coat of paint on the walls. I have 3 windows that I still need to put in.
I saw those in your shed.
Yeah,
on the shed video. Well, you'll be busy.
Yeah.
And you're getting back from IWF on Thursday?
No, Sunday. I leave Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
And I'm back on Sunday.
So how long will you be at the show? Is it like Thursday and Friday? Or are you going to?
So the show is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Obviously, I'll only be there for like a half a day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And then you're just going to have some R&R with your family.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm sure Hunter's excited. It's always nice to get away. You got a pool in the hotel?
Yeah.
It's almost a prerequisite when you have a kid.
My wife was like, "Oh, you excited to swim in the hotel pool?" I'm like, "There is a pool, right?" I'm like, "Before you start, promising."
Yeah.
We had to check.
Yeah.
It's actually an outdoor pool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's going to be great.
It's a nice hotel. It's it overlooks like the Mercedes stadium.
Okay. It's amazing how long a kid will just stay in the pool all day long.
Oh yeah. And he likes to swim, so
you got to have all his stuff. You got to have his little goggles and some diving toys.
I always get confused when I go to Google Maps. Here we go. Satellite.
How far is the hotel from the convention center?
It is in the.
That's nice.
Yeah. So here's the hotel, and here's that stadium. This is the hotel, and there's that. It's a new stadium for the Falcons.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
wow.
It's pretty cool looking.
It's so funny, like football. And as you get older, you sort of know what you like. And I get invited sometimes. I think, did we talk about this? But I'll get invited to like go to a football game. And 10 or 20 years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And now I'm like, I just know I don't enjoy it. So I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah, to go to an NFL game?
Anything. I got invited to go watch a hockey game. And nothing against that. It's just not for me. Right?
Hockey, I might go see. Football, no.
I got turned on to watching hockey maybe 20 years ago. My uncle was into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that made it fun to watch. And also, I was watching hockey when the U.S. won the Olympics against Russia. I think I was in 5th grade. That was like a big deal. So I did get kind of into that. But I just know you get to a place in your life and you sort of know your routine and what you like. And it's better to just be like, okay, this is where I'll put my time and this is where I won't. So my cousin Dave asked me if I wanted to go canoeing. I guess they're doing a whole trip in the Delaware. And that sounds like a lot of fun because I like all the guys and gals, family members. But then it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes for my drive. It's an hour for them because they all live in North Jersey. So 5 hours in the car on a Sunday. And I was just like, it's just better to,
it's going to ruin your Monday.
Instead of saying to them, oh yeah, I might want to do that. And like, you just get to know yourself. You're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. So we were at a family party last weekend, and my nephew, who's now about your age, was standing next to me, and Dave brought it up. I was like, yeah, thanks, but nah, it's not for me. And Tanner just laughed. He goes, that's awesome. It's like, it's so cool that you know yourself. So I had a question. Did Corey start a podcast, or has he been doing a podcast from CT Woodworks?
He was just on Working Hands, Keith's podcast. Okay.
Well, I wanted to listen to that, but we were going back and forth on DM, and he said something like, you'll have to come on the podcast.
Huh.
And, because I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you again up at Makers Camp. He goes, well, maybe before that, you could be on the podcast. So
it's news to me if you did.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, because I didn't. Maybe sooner than that, I could come on. Oh, I could come on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Also, we've talked about Corey before. Off season, we don't want to do it in the summertime. It'd be great to go to his shop and shoot an episode of Today's Craftsman.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely would be fun to do that.
Yeah.
I love that area. And I haven't been there in probably 20 years.
His shop's cool.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like really like a little slice of paradise back, you know.
I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's got a big yard,
Mm-hmm.
and the shop, you don't really see that much of the shop on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It'd be good to see it from a drone's point of view.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you kind of want your privacy.
Mm-hmm.
That is a nice thing about a commercial space. You can sort of show more of it because it's not where you live.
Yeah, this is already out there, you know. You could just go online and find out where this shop is. I don't have to worry about, you know, somebody finding out where it is. They already know.
Exactly. I remember, I think it's probably April Wilkinson talking about sometimes people will find out where she lives. And that's kind of a little weird.
Yeah, well, that's like before we like really knew each other personally. Like I just drove by your house. I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's John Peter's house. And that's got to be weird, you know?
Yeah, a few people know where I live, but not too many.
Because the barn is just so recognizable. You drive by it, you're like,
oh, there's the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to use that in like a drone shot because I thought it's kind of a cool looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it anymore because I just kind of get right into the meat and potatoes of the video because I feel like intros, nobody cares.
Yeah, no, they can't be like long, you know.
Sometimes I'll search something and I'll get like a 45-second intro of something going on. I'm like, holy cow, I cannot believe I'm waiting here for this, you know. And then you start to scrub past it. So yeah, right now it's just, if I have a sponsor, I might give them a 15-second shout out in the beginning. But mostly I just get right to it, just like we do here on Today's Craftsman. Yeah. Now, if we do get a sponsor, I think we can do a 15 to 30-second shout out with the product because I also think that the viewers who are tuning into Today's Craftsman are they're more focused on what you're saying, mm-hmm. and they're not coming here.
They didn't just click on it. They didn't just click on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So they may even find it interesting that we've actually found a product that we endorse that is actually help paying for it.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
The worst is when you like are trying to do like a how-to, like you just, you know, I forget what I was doing, how to check, you know, if a capacitor is bad. And I click on a video and it's taking like 2-3 minutes I'm like, dude, get to the point. I don't need your intro. Tell me your life story. Like this is a how-to video. Get right to how to check it.
That's absolutely true. And I think that going into the future, we got to figure out like what are good problems that we can solve in a 3 to 5 minute video.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think, like I made a video on changing the tire in my pickup truck, how to get the spare out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the entire video. And it's got, at least more than 100,000 views. And the comments you get back from that is like, oh, you saved my life. I was on the side of the road, because it's a little complicated. You know, you don't know
how
where
to
the
jump a Mercedes Sprinter.
Yeah.
We had a hell of a time with that. The battery is in the cab. You got to take the whole floor up. I didn't find out until the next day that there's a way to jump it from the engine bay.
We really need to discipline ourselves to make these 3 to 5 minute, just bare bones, right to the point videos, because I don't want to know the name of your dog when I'm coming over here to figure out this question.
Because I'm in trouble. I need to know right now, you know?
Yeah. So we should do that. We should definitely, I know I have it on our notes, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. So I actually think that when we get into the fall, I'm going to work my schedule around. So I'm like sitting at a desk here from like whatever, 10 a.m. Like maybe after we shoot the podcast, I hang out for 3 or 4 hours and just build that in. Like, okay, that's going to be and work on shorts.
Yep.
And also work on the video that we just shot in case I need some extra B-roll. And I think that would be a good use of time. Something to definitely focus on getting into September.
I think the shorts too, it's like literally everything that's ever happening in there is worthy of a short or a reel, but it's all about capturing it and having that outside perspective of, oh, wow, that's cool. Because to me, none of this stuff is cool anymore.
Agreed.
It's all just, it's just everyday, mundane. It's all very focused, whatever, goal-oriented. It's like we're just trying to get the job done.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good use of time to kind of get done the things I need to get done to get the video out on Saturday, and then just walk around the shop, sort of seeing what you're working on, and then just really try to get one short or one Instagram reel 4 to 6 days a week. And then I think that would really help build the channel. And also the Instagram, and then the shorts. The thing with shorts is it's like gambling, because you have a short takes off. I've mentioned it before, but that one short has gained 213,000 subscribers. Now, again, that doesn't really mean anything, but I think it's gotten me close to 1 million. So I think once I get over 1 million, if somebody says, oh, what do you do? I've got a YouTube channel. It's got more than 1 million subscribers. All of a sudden, you're taking a little more serious.
Oh, yeah.
So if we can get a short that gains us 60,000 subscribers, I think that'd be great. And I think it's totally doable. It's just got to keep pushing out the content.
Yeah. And, I know a couple guys who became really focused on growing their YouTubes and Instagram specifically and TikTok. And that's what they did. It's like 1 or 2 every day. And that's the secret sauce. That's how they did it. And they're huge now. They're full time. Well,
I'm going to have to do that. And I think maybe I'll take over doing the TikTok. So
we have one.
Yeah. So once I get over here, I'll get the logins to that, because I can even post a lot of my old content, re-edit it a little bit differently. Things that blew up on my Instagram with more than 1 million views, and put them on TikTok. And that could get because now people are paying for TikTok.
Yeah. We'll see how long it's still around, but
yeah, I think it is going to stick around.
Yeah. We're about to hit 3 million on that Craig Jig reel.
And meanwhile, it didn't do anything on YouTube.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said, it's a crapshoot.
That's for sure. So unless you got anything else going on, I think we've been on here a while, right?
Yeah. Let's see. We've got a comment of the week. I haven't responded to the comments yet. It's only Monday, but let's see. Well,
I know the comment, the one I like.
Okay.
Because it's going to give us a good video, and that is the whole process.
Yeah, I have it right here.
You do it.
So this is from Finison, Finison 1, Finison 1. Request for video. Would be nice to see an entire cabinet set, doors, drawers, and carcasses, painting process from start to finish. Staging, painting, how you get them out of the way to dry them, and get the next piece ready, etc. Then how you prep them for shipping as to not damage the finish.
See, I'd like to do that, and I think that maybe if we could get potentially Apollo, potentially General Finishes, It'd be great to get that one sponsored because I could see that being like a 45-minute video.
Yeah.
And maybe it's your kitchen. We don't have to do the install, but everything else.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to your time. If you got the time, I'll make the time. And because that's going to be more than a one-day shoot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That might even take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Jumping around, whatever. But it would be good to see the, the raw material, whether that's the MDF doors or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, just let me know and I'll work around I'll make my schedule work around it because I think that'd be a good one. But at the same time, I do think we hold on to it until we get paid for it by a few potential sponsors.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to phone parts in, for the sake of time.
Absolutely. So that's a good one. That was a great comment.
Yeah.
A lot of great comments. Thanks, everybody, for leaving the comments. Like I said, Jeff usually responds to those, and you do a great job at it. It might take you a few days, but we do read them all.
Yeah.
I know I look forward to reading all the comments on not only my channel, but on today's Craftsman. Within an hour, I'm always checking any comments yet, And
I love, we get comments from a lot of the same people every week. Bill,
Bill's
Tim,
great. Steve,
Rick, Sapili Steve.
Yeah,
there's a ton of guys who, and we really appreciate the support and
for sure
that they like the videos.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so make sure you leave your comment. You could be coming in the week next week.
That's it.
All right, talk to you next week.
All right, have a great week, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend or share it on social media. You can leave a review of this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, today's Craftsman YouTube channel has an upload every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week.